Hey guys, it's Drew Shellnut with Friends, Facts, and Fiction. I'm here with my two other co-hosts, Grant Bramlett and Justin Hammonds.
Hey.
We are here to inform you on our podcast platform, Anchor.fm. Number one, it's very easy to use because it's free. Also, if you're trying to create your own podcast, they have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor also will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, and many more. You can make money from your podcast as well with minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast, all in one place, Anchor.fm.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Friends, Facts, and Fiction. As always, this episode is made possible by our local convenience stores, the misappropriation of history, and you. And now to your hosts, Justin Hammonds, Grant Bramlett, and Drew Shellnut.
What's up? What's happening, world? This is Justin Hammonds from a podcast called Friends, Facts, and Fiction. This is episode 6, Ringing Reputation and Non-Repulse. And I'm looking at Drew Shellnut.
Howdy do.
And I'm looking at Grant Bramlett.
Why, hello there.
And Drew Shellnut killed it again with the title, my guy.
Yeah.
Coming through with the hot facts. I think he's...
A little last-minute weird throw together there.
Yeah. I think he's in the lead by a lot.
Wow. I've just conceded at this
No,
point.
I'm just taking over as the name.
Drew's job.
Speaking of conceding, 46.
Oh, yeah.
My guy Joe Biden. What's up?
Right.
Yeah.
And shouts out to Kamala Harris. There's a way more historic moment there, which is fucking amazing. Go from Obama in the White House to Kamala Harris in the White House. Just like a little white supremacy thing in between. It's America.
Just a little short-lived.
It's America, bro. We got all that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We got all that is encompassed in America. You know what I'm saying? So, at least that little weight is lifted off of our shoulders.
Yeah.
And hopefully these next 4 years will be rebuild and fucking reassess the nation and get some shit back in order.
I don't want to get like overly political because this is still very fresh and a little less than half of the country is not very happy right now. But to be fair, I was very unhappy 4 years ago, so it's their turn.
Yeah, right.
But my biggest thing, I am so excited about not having to pay such close attention to political news.
Yeah, I'm happy not to have it every day
for the next
tweets,
4
every
years.
day
You know what I
bullshit,
mean?
every day a story. It's like, bro, can y'all just politic?
Yeah.
Do your politics
I
and
get
do
to
it
go
good.
back to being a normal citizen and just being like, every now and again, it's like, is he still doing an adequate job? He's doing an adequate job. Okay, let's,
Yeah, and I also don't have to have the oh shit, Drew's had 2 drinks. Don't let him open his Facebook, please. Don't.
For me, man, it's like literally like getting back into everything that is going to help the planet.
That is true.
The Paris Agreement. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
all these type of things that they're pushing for, and clean energy, federalize decriminalization of marijuana, that shit like that.
It's a big one.
Shouts out to Portland, by the way. Oregon, what's up?
I know.
Yeah,
right.
they're doing with the shits.
I'm really excited to see what Oregon's going to look like in a few years. So we get some of those numbers back on most likely they're going to be making more money. They're going to have addiction rates, overdose rates, and crime rates drop inevitably, I think,
crazy.
personally.
Yeah.
A Portugalistic move.
Exactly. So we get to look at that in a few years and be like, oh, yeah, that is the right way to go about it.
Yeah.
And other progressive states will pick it up. And then eventually in, 8 years, hopefully, it can just be sort of a nationally spread
We
thingy.
shall see. Shouts out to Auntie Lau. She's out there. Might have to go holler at her soon. And she's probably having a grand old time.
I really do like the Biden does have one groovy little aspect about you're talking about the climate and everything. They want to appoint a climate czar, and one of the main people, which would be a really good move for us globally, would be John Kerry, who actually negotiated us getting into the Paris climate.
Yeah,
agreement in the first place.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But of which we are going to get back into.
Right.
God.
Thankfully.
I remember when he ran for president, bro. Remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
That was weird.
Yeah.
We're
weird.
old, man. We're getting old.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to keep this moving because this episode is pretty thick. It's going to be the actual beginning, true origins of Chinese culture and the emperors of China, the dynasties of China, and all the wild things that happened. And we're giving you, again, tip of the iceberg. People.
Seriously.
Yeah.
It's super thick. A lot of things happened in those hundreds of years, and we're giving you the high notes. So, if you want more information, you can email us at friends.facts.fiction@gmail.com. But it's my turn for the song of the day of the week, the SOD. And I went with a song called Deep End. It's the remix by Kari and Fushi. Check it out.
I've been trying not to go off the deep end. I don't think you wanna give me a reason. I met her like, hello, nice to meet you, baby. I'm the man of your dreams. No more record ain't clean, but we in a new season, baby. I'm on top of my cream. Tell me your fantasies, guarantee I'll please you, baby. Or is this approach way too cheesy, baby? I can tell by the look at your eyes that you ain't even surprised and you make it look easy, baby. That paper. Shawty tongue rip like razor. Shawty got wick, got flavor. Shawty got like
That's them vibes.
That was dope. I really like that drop.
Yeah, bro. I really dig that track. I've been on repeat for like the past week of my life. Going through some happy times right now. But anyway, we're going to slide up into these hot facts. Who's taking the first whack at it?
I'll take this big boy, I guess, here, or we can trade off halfway through. So to kind of reiterate
Phrasing, my guy.
What to kind of reiterate what Justin was talking about is basically we're just going to hit y'all with 4 of the longest lasting or biggest or most influential dynasties, but that means that we've ignored several dynasties, and there's
13.
all these periods in between, and then sometimes there's multiple, if you want to call them dynasties, but like 2 really large groups that are kind of constantly at odds with each other.
Yeah, I think of how big this land mass is. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It takes a lot for one person to rule it all.
Yeah.
And a few times that did happen, but there's a lot of split-offs.
There's some animated maps that you can see where it's like these areas pop up and go away and then overtaken by this one and all this kind of stuff. It's nuts.
Well,
it's
and
absolutely crazy.
there can't be one to rule them all anyway. We've seen Lord of the Rings.
Right.
You've got to destroy that central power.
For a direct reference, History 101 on YouTube. Let's just go check it out. Type in History 101 China. Yeah, break it down really nicely.
And then Drew, you found a 24 episode.
Oh, yes. It's called The Seasons of China. It breaks it down into the 24 season calendar, and there's an episode for each. So, yeah, check that out. That is on Prime.
Boom, boom.
Anyways, we're going to start with the Xia dynasty, which is 2070 through 1600 BCE, so about 430 years of rule.
It's crazy.
There's still a question of whether it's historical fact or mostly fictionalized, considering this is still pre-literate times. They had some writings and things like that, but for the most part, a lot of this wasn't recorded as well as dynasties that are going to follow. But interesting thing about this is that it didn't come into question whether or not this is actual historical fact or mixed in with mythology until the 1920s. So you've got thousands of years of quote-unquote knowledge versus about 100 years of these new scholars coming up to question it, right? So it's still really deeply entrenched in Chinese culture that this is real, Of course. But palaces, weapons, and the art started popping up during this period. Emperor Yu, that we mentioned last episode, he didn't come into power until this dynasty is well underway. And the main thing he did, succeeding Shu, was to turn 12 provinces into 9 provinces and implemented taxation, primarily through coins, precious metals, weapons, and ceremonial items. One of his taxes that he did was he took all the copper that he got and made these 9 tripod cauldrons that they used in ceremonial sacrifices. They each weighed 7.5 tons.
It's like 3.5 vehicles. Yeah.
Each
insane.
one. Yeah.
That's insane.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And depending on how much power you held, it was allowed for how many cauldrons you could use for a ceremonial sacrifice thing. And only the emperor could use all 9 at the same time, by the way.
That's fucking nuts.
But could you imagine, like, hundreds of thousands of people around, and the emperor comes down, it's like, and then there's like lighting these 9 massive fucking cauldrons,
Yeah. It's some true movie scene type shit. Like, epic.
Yeah.
I can picture a dragon flying over the top of that scene. You know what I
I'm
mean?
sure there was.
Fucking like, what's up, bro? Check out, look at my shit.
Yeah. So after we basically have that episode of Futurama, where they go to the planet with the 3 suns and all the creatures are made of water and Fry's like all hot and sweaty. And there's this like really delicious looking bottle of water, and he pops it and chugs it. Turns out he drank one of the emperors. And he has to go through this massively long list of other emperors, where it's like, and Emperor so-and-so was glugged by so-and-so the glugger, that kind of thing. That's kind of what happened, really. Like, it's crazy that it went through so many different people, so many different exchanges of power and everything like that.
Yeah.
But first up is the Han Dynasty, 206 BCE to 220 CE, which is 426 years. That we're going to try and condense into less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Good luck to us. Here we go.
10 minutes, maybe. Everybody timing it.
90% of China's population and 20% of the world population identify as people of the Han.
To this day, huh?
Yeah. That's to this day.
Yes, that's a modern
Cray.
percentage. Named for the Han River and founded by Liu Bang, was of a family of peasant farmers. Which that kind of seems to happen pretty often. You get this guy that comes out of nothing and slowly raises into eventually becoming the emperor of a dynasty.
I think that's why their work ethic is so fucking. Like,
Is that where we get our model for the American dream?
Maybe. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
Possibly. I mean,
So this dude, honestly, was pretty badass. He climbed from nothing until he finally became emperor. Was also known as the soldier or the thief or the king, or amongst many of his titles given to him. But it all began when he was a sheriff taking prisoners to the capital. He lost one of them and decided to release all of them so he wouldn't be dishonored for losing one.
that's a pimp decision. It's like, damn, I can't find my keys. Well, fuck keys for life, then, I guess. I was like, I just give up on keeping keys, bro.
Can't find my keys. I guess
anyway?
I guess I'll blow up my car for the insurance money.
I'll just keep everything unlocked.
So once he released, they pledged their loyalty to him since they wouldn't be, either executed or spend a life in prison. And they all just turned into a band of marauders that likely would have been quelled if there wasn't a civil war going on in the Qing dynasty at that time. Mr. Bang became a general in Xiang Yu's rebel army.
That's a great point, man.
It really is. He took the capital and was named ruler of the Han. Xiang Yu then ordered Bang to bury 200,000 captive Qin troops alive.
Holy shit.
Yes.
200,000 people? Oh, my God.
You want to talk about a mass grave that moves for a little while?
Like, imagine being at the bottom of that. You know what I mean? Like,
I would prefer not to.
well, I mean, I wouldn't want anybody actually think about that, but, you see what I'm saying. That's fucking intense, bro.
So most of the people really just wanted unity and viewed Liu Bang as merciful because he said, I'm not going to bury 200,000 troops alive. So,
I'm not going to be evil as fuck. So at least you got that.
So they all pledged their allegiance to him, and his area of control grew very quickly. He eventually rebranded himself as Emperor Gaodi. He became even more beloved when he lowered taxes, reduced the army, and appointed people from the lower class to high ranks based on their merit/intellect instead of their lineage, while instructing the provincial leaders to do the same.
See, that's one of those things that He came from nothing, so he's like, "Nah, you can't just hop up in here, player.
Yeah.
you got to show me that you worth something.
I don't give a
Right.
shit who your daddy
give a
was.
fuck. Yeah, exactly. Fuck all that. You got to show me what you can do with your hands, player. What's up? Like, can you build something? Can you fight?
He wasn't a big
Can you
fan of
grow
the Greek
crops?
system,
Like,
if you will.
Exactly.
So this is when civil service exams were instituted. Remember, this is like 202 BCE.
Yeah.
And they still do them shits.
They
to this
still do them to this day.
It's crazy, bro.
So this mixed with basically an archaic version of foreign policy, which will become the Han Dynasty, and saw the most prolific and profitable growth in history. Wu came next and took the southern regions into it, and that ended up costing pretty much all their money and over 100,000 soldiers to try and annex this land forcefully, Famine and overtaxation began. Anybody who came up against him with issues during this time were killed, and his palace was painted with their blood. Metal. You got to think about how, this really awesome time where you can, like, take this test and become into a position of power, blah, blah, blah. And then the dude that replaces him fucks it all up because he's trying to get more land. And people are like, wait, what? I liked it the other way. And he was like, okay, I'm going to paint you. I'm going to paint my palace with your blood.
Yeah. Are you talking down? You trying to be the next Fourier wall, my guy? What's going on?
It's crazy. So Wang Mang comes into power next, and he monopolizes goods produced by the different provinces, causing a band of rebels known as the Red Eyebrows to take over a majority of the land. It became a decentralized gang that couldn't hold on to power and eventually die off due to disease and desertion. A claimed descendant of Liu Bang, Liu Shu, was also merciful and pardoned the Red Eyebrows and spent time reuniting the land and improved the life of the peasants while reinstituting civil service exams and basically started a free college system. A second golden age ensues. The Silk Road was under his control as well and was patrolled to promote safe travel and trade along it. During this time, paper is invented and used commonly. The periodic floods, plagues, and famine that would happen, he instituted taxed amnesty, grain relief, and the right to hunt and fish on royal lands to combat that. And this prevented civil war. Fucking duh. I mean, if people are hungry and then you let them eat.
They're poor and you cut some taxes. Yeah. Oh, we cool with homie. He's straight. It's cool.
But basically, like, bureaucratic corruption eventually led to its demise, and the land was divided once again.
Yeah.
But you can see, like, during that time period, you had a merciful leader that's, let people come up and unify, and then you had a couple of, like, really fucking hardline, mean as fuck dudes or whatever, and that breaks into chaos, and then another merciful dude comes in and starts to let people become something with themselves, and if they fucked up, then they would give them some kind of relief.
Give some hope. It's kind of like some Yes We Can vibes.
It's weird how that works.
Isn't that strange?
Anybody's into politics.
Yeah. So I'm going to jump 800 years into the future.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Just a quick little 80.
Yeah.
Hop in that DeLorean, my guy.
Yeah. So the Tang Dynasty. I know.
Tang.
You're thinking Tang Dynasty. Like people who grew up drinking Tang?
Yeah, that orange drink.
No, you silly ass. It's one of China's most important dynastic powerhouses, dum-dum.
Good. Yeah, let's verbally assault our listeners.
Well, you do it on our advertisements, so that's okay.
That's true, dude. Bunch of idiots.
So the rise of the Tang Dynasty in China mirrored like what we talked about, the Han Dynasty over 800 years earlier. Like the Han Dynasty before them, the Tang Dynasty was created after the fall of a ruthless leader. And like the Han Dynasty before them, the Tang Dynasty had their own powerful leader, Emperor Taizong. But the first emperor of the Tang Dynasty was Cao Tzu from 618 to 626 CE. He continued many of the practices begun by the Sui Dynasty, which was right before him, but he granted equal amounts of land to each adult male in return for their taxes and continued the trend of local government rule. Cao Tzu also created a monetary system of copper coins and silk ribbons. So he took it more from, coins and, other goods to just those two.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah. He wrote a set of laws revised every 2 decades that lasted into the Ming Dynasty in the 14th century.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, that lasted a good while.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. One of his sons, General Li Shi-min, eliminated all of his political rivals. And this included killing 2 of his brothers. So he killed 2 of his brothers just so his dad would give him the throne, essentially.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's some real Games of Thrones type shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he just kind of took over.
Family
He spent
turmoil
years doing this, so he would take
Russia,
over.
maybe.
He would just go through
Russian
from,
to me.
area to area and just
there's
kind of
that.
do his little thing and
Wow.
take over. And then he finally got to his brothers, and they were, the last cogs in the machine, if you will. And that broke his dad down to give him the dynasty himself.
You have no choice now, father.
And, Li Shi-min, you guys definitely will know better as Taizong, the guy I mentioned before. That's actually his temple name. So he decided to go by that instead of his birth-given name. But he took the throne in 626 CE, and that began the Golden Age of China. Although he kept a lot of the same practices in government, just like his dad did, he did shrink it quite a bit in the central and state levels. By utilizing a smaller system, he had more money to invest in infrastructure. So he was able to make food banks. And, when the farmers had floods or natural disasters or anything like that, he was able to give them what we deal with today as stimulus packages, essentially.
It basically created like villages and also FEMA programs.
Yeah, essentially.
Pretty much, yeah.
And
Cool.
because I said we jumped 800 years into the future, right after what we just left off of, they kind of abandoned that whole system of having civil exams. They went back to not. Well, he brought it back, the civil exams based on merit, which very obviously made his court officials, smarter people that were holding those offices.
Right.
Well, they're
more qualified.
and
Right.
they're more aware of what the fuck matters.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, right. Well, the Tang only really faced military qualms once, and this was from the Turks. But they easily beat them in 657, and this started 150 years of Tang control.
Tang ownership, drink control, baby.
Get that Tang in your cheeks.
That Tang. Oh my god.
China became even larger during the Tang dynasty than it had ever been during the Han. The Chinese regularly communicated with lands as far east or as far west as Persia, present-day Afghanistan, and the Byzantine Empire.
Damn.
Which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
We talked about the Vikings doing that as well. China was doing that well before because of the Silk Road and stuff.
Right.
What's up, world? This is Justin from Friends, Facts, and Fiction podcast here. Oh, thank you. I see you in the back. All right, yeah. What's up, boy? Anyway, have you ever, thought about doing your own podcast or maybe listening to new podcasts? Well, Anchor FM helped us out a lot, and let me tell you about it. It's a free app. It makes podcasting super easy. You can record and edit your podcast from your phone or computer using this app, and they also distribute your podcast all over, like Spotify, Apple, Google. Basically everywhere. And you can make some money eventually, as long as you got people listening or subscribing. Did I mention it's free? So you can just download it just for shits and giggles, or you can actually use it for its benefits. But Anchor FM, it's a free app. Just download it today. Why are you playing?
Goods and, more importantly, ideas continued to be exchanged on the Silk Road as well. The Tang Dynasty's 2 capital cities, Sha'ang'an and Luoyang, became melting pots to many cultures, and a large number of beliefs such as Zoroastrianism, Islam, and Buddhism became about. I don't know too much about Zoroastrianism. But
sounds pretty dope though. Whatever it is,
right?
Is it
Zorro.
about? Is it about? Yeah, the homie Antonio Banderas.
Antonio was hell yeah, hell yeah. I didn't even think about
Zorro. Z on the chest, bro.
Anyway,
throwback shit.
Obviously, the most influential out of these was Buddhism, which Buddhism, as some people say, but that's not the correct pronunciation.
I like Buddhism.
Yeah, you know, I know this. Which actually evolved into
It's
Zen
called
Buddhism.
yamology, by the way. Study of yams.
Them yams?
Yeah.
What's the yams?
Anyway, go ahead.
Which actually, you know, that study evolved into Zen Buddhism, which is, you know, what modern Buddhism is.
Right.
The Zen.
The Zen. However, during the late Tang period, the economy was suffering a bit, you know. The emperor at the time, Wu Sung, a devout Taoist, attempted to eliminate all the Buddhists. So he was just, you know, and this lasted from like 843 to 845. It was only 2 years. But he closed thousands of temples in order to control their wealth and, you know, just kind of shut them out. Although the attempt to destroy Buddhism lasted only a short time, the religion never recovered. The decline of the Buddhist and conflicts between the Chinese and foreign traders marked the beginning of a change in the Chinese attitude altogether, honestly.
Yeah.
After hundreds of years of cultural change, by 836 CE, no foreigners would be welcome in China.
Yeah. That happened for a long time because they wanted China to be self-sufficient and shit.
A great contribution of the Tang dynasty came years after the death of Taizong, when the dynasty was at its political and economical height. The Tang dynasty was a golden age of art and literature for the Chinese. Mm-hmm. There are many of their poets and stuff that I didn't name all of them because I didn't want to butcher more names and waste time. But a lot of the historical poets came from this time in the Chinese culture. The poetry and art was deeply affected by the rebellion of the northeastern troops against officials in the capital, the court officials at least, in the capital city of one of those cities that I named earlier. They had two cities which were capitals, which is kind of weird to me. But the city of Chang'an in 1756 CE, named after the leader of the rebellion, if you will, An Lushan Rebellion, caused the deaths of countless people, including members of the royal family. And it also marked the beginning of the end of the Tang dynasty. The decline of the dynasty increased during the second half of the 9th century as factions within the central government began throwing bows, if you will. Mm-hmm. These feuds led to political plots and scandals with assassinations that were just not uncommon. There was so much unrest that, and you know, obviously not modern times, assassinations and things like that could just slip by, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
The dynasty then split into 10 separate kingdoms as the central government weakened. After a series of collapses beginning around 880 CE, northern invaders finally destroyed the Tang dynasty. Thus, the Golden Age ended.
Yeah.
So I guess like Drew, I'm going to skip ahead just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
By about, let's math it here, about 500 years. 550 years or so. Yeah.
Older than the country.
To jump to, isn't that insane? Like,
yeah, that's insane.
All of these numbers are way older than our own country. Yeah. It's crazy. But I'm going to skip ahead to the Ming Dynasty, which roughly translates to name or reputation. That lasted from 1368 to 1644. That it followed the collapse of the Mongol-led Yuan dynasty, and this is the last time that the Han Chinese had their own dynasty or ruled China, by the way. But Zhu Yuanzhang was the first emperor. The region was hit by the plague. Episode 1 throwback.
Yeah.
When he was only 16 years old and was orphaned by it, so he joined a monastery. A Red Turban rebellion burned the monastery to the ground. So he joined them.
Jesus, can't beat them, join them.
Yeah. Tough life. He's like, who's winning? Cool. I'm rocking with y'all.
Surprisingly like Mr. Bang from earlier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like plague hits when he's 16. He loses his entire family.
Yeah.
And then he goes to a monastery. Some rebels burn that shit to the ground. He's like, all right, well, I guess I'll just...
Guess I'm rocking with
Hop
y'all.
on with y'all then,
Yeah. I've been with y'all the whole time. I was waiting on y'all to come pick me up, bro. Like, shit was going on.
It was either y'all or the Vikings.
Right, what's up?
So that army ended up rising pretty quickly, and they invaded and occupied Nanjing. They then took Beijing as well and began the dynasty by declaring himself emperor. He was really big on bureaucracy and military, done by creating self-sufficient rural communities that guaranteed permanent soldiers, meaning that the standing army was a little over 1 million. And then the Navy's dockyards in Nanjing were the largest in the world at the time.
Of course they were.
Yeah. He's also really pretty well known for creating 6 very separate ministries that controlled very specific aspects of, the dynasty.
Number one being the Ministry of Darkness.
That's actually the unspoken ministry. That's the very, very quiet
Ministry of
seventh
Dark Arts.
ministry. Yeah. But that's included personnel, revenue, rights, war, justice, and works.
Nice.
He made it 31 years as an emperor and died at 70. Something that came from the Ming Dynasty, well, a few things that came from the Ming Dynasty that are pretty important is the Forbidden City, which is the largest imperial palace in the world, 180 acres
Holy crap.
of inside.
Inside.
You're inside.
For 180
acres. And that's not the biggest building that's in China. It's just the largest
dude.
imperial palace.
That's insane.
I
That
fucking
is
know,
insane.
dude.
And that shit's still standing, just chilling, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
How many stock
crazy.
ponds y'all got? I'm going to come visit.
I need to see what your foundation made of, because that thing is standing still.
Well, I mean, it served as the imperial home of many rulers to follow, and held like ceremonial as a ceremonial political center for almost 500 years. It's fucking crazy. The Great Wall of China was extended into its modern form during the Ming Dynasty, so they were kind of done with it, basically, by that point.
Yeah.
And then
So many bodies in that wall, by the way.
so many bodies. We'll talk about that next week. And then those like iconic blue and white porcelain dishes and bowls and vases and stuff.
Yeah.
that
China.
were shaded around.
Yeah.
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 Which is referred to as China. That was invented and perfected during this time as well, and was one of the hot ticket items for international trade along the Silk
Still
Road.
to this day.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I know. It's crazy.
Shit's wild.
During this time, Chinese authority extended into Mongolia, Korea, Southeast Asia, and the Ryukyu Islands. The late Ming population was around 160 to about 200 million people. That discrepancy mostly comes from people either hiding from the census or, quote-unquote, donating their land to tax-exempt eunuchs or temples to avoid the ever-growing taxes.
Hiding from the census.
Yeah, seriously, they
Jesus
were. The
Christ.
census was
I
a
did
very
that
big
this
thing.
year.
And they did the
I was about to
same
say, I think
thing.
a lot of people did that this
It's
year.
kind of great. I think America adopted that census system in that they, just like we do, they update it every 10 years.
Oh, wow.
And it decides how much taxes each province owes, how much representation they get in like the overarching, dynastic political
it's
system.
very important to do
Everything.
the census.
Yes, it's very
Yeah,
important.
I didn't hide from it on most people's things. I hid from it because I was naked pants, and they came and they knocked on my door. And they were like, "Census people," and I was like,
Naked, sorry.
"Naked, please, sorry, go away."
I'm having grown-up time right now. not really doing that.
There's an adult conversation happening in here, and you're not part of it.
And ain't many words involved, but it's all good.
Oh man, that's funny. So these a combination
Census.com to
of
do the census, by the way. Anyway.
a combination of a lack of silver and what's known as the Little Ice Age is the reason for the Ming's downfall.
Oh, that's cute. Little Ice Age.
The Portuguese established trade with China in 1516, trading Japanese silver for Chinese silk. But their role was gradually surpassed by the Spanish, who were using American mined silver coming out of Peru and was known as New Spain back in the day.
Bullshit.
This caused a dramatic spike in the value of silver and made paying taxes nearly impossible for most of the provinces. For example, in the 1630s, a string of 1,000 copper coins equaled an ounce of silver. Just 10 years later, it was worth half an ounce of silver. And then 3 years after that, a third of an ounce of silver.
Damn.
Yeah. So
Talk about getting in early. So
Right.
It's like investing in Apple in the 80s.
it's crazy, dude. Seriously. So like these peasants, they had to pay their taxes in silver. and they conducted local trade and crop sales and copper, right? So they're exchanging copper constantly with each other.
yeah.
And then here comes tax season, which is a lot of them, air quotes, donated their land and shit because just couldn't fucking pay it.
It's like, I don't have no silver, actually.
I haven't seen silver in years. Combine that with the Little Ice Age, which was a period of unusually cold weather that dramatically shortened the growing seasons in the north, leading to massive amounts of famine.
That pops up a lot in Chinese culture.
Yeah.
By the way.
So
crazy climate changes that creates famine.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, as expected, when you have a bunch of broke and hungry people, desertions and rebellions are likely to follow. And thus, the wheel turns once again.
Yeah. And then around 1644, the Qing dynasty pops up. And it's the last imperial dynasty of China. First up is Emperor Shunzi, a very young emperor from 1644 to 1661. Under this emperor came the famous hairstyle massacre, in which men were executed on the spot if they didn't have a certain hairstyle.
Jesus.
Pretty crazy. And I think that has for him to be like young and cynical, but it's the shaved size of the head with like the hair on top with a single braid coming down. Yeah, you had to wear that because it made them look ridiculous. Literally, that was his thought. It makes him look ridiculous.
Like a way to shame them?
Yeah, he looks better than all the other men.
I definitely would have been, especially like high school age me, would definitely have been killed. I'd have been like, fuck you, I'm not doing that.
Imagine just on the spot. Like, what if you on the way to the barber? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm actually on the way. I swear, bro.
I got him on the way.
I'm there.
This is fire tag. I'm on the way to the...
I'm going to the DMV right now, bro. Like, that's why I'm headed this way, bro.
Man, that's why. Come on, man. It's 2 miles away from here.
Got a headlight out. I'm on the way to AutoZone right now. I swear, bro. Like, obviously.
Just follow me there. Follow me there.
Exactly.
You'll see.
You just passed AutoZone. Yeah, I know. Google was wrong.
I like O'Reilly's, bro. I like O'Reilly's. I'm just saying. But yeah, so the little hairstyle, the hairstyle massacre, it's pretty wild. But after those wild times, the Qing dynasty experienced another great golden age, which was the richest golden age of imperial China. And the rulers of these times, or those times, were Kang Qi, Yang Xing, and Kui Long, or Shui Long. I'm gonna fuck up some names.
Fuck up some combos.
Yeah, under this golden age, the empire expanded to rule over Nepal, Korea, Taiwan, Mongolia, Tibet, and Kazakhstan.
Damn.
Needless to say, commerce thrived, and so did the arts, like painting, print, and sculpture making, which it added to the fucking like lush architecture that they have nowadays. Emperor Kang Xi, 1661 to 1722, he saw China as a true middle kingdom and banned foreign trade again, like banning foreigners from coming into China, making China very self-sufficient again. And at the beginning of this golden age, he created this crazy inner commerce, basically bringing their own value up, kind of like fucking like Chinese neighborhoods in America. You know what I'm saying? Their dollar bouncing around like 30 times before it leaves their neighborhood type shit.
Right. I mean, you got to think about how huge that empire was, though, you know? I mean, they didn't need to trade with outside.
Yeah, and that was his thing. It's like,
especially
we,
back then.
we have all this land. We have all the shit. Just fuck anybody else. Like, don't let people come in.
We have it all.
Yeah, plus they got the Great Wall up anyway, so...
Yeah, they were the technological juggernaut of that time.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Yeah. Like, their work with crossbows is fucking unmatched. But... Then we get to Emperor Yang Xing, 1722 to 1735. He made the monarchy more autocratic by creating a central council, basically a board of government officials that advised him. But where he started fucking up is he made tax changes in the system to benefit his council members. So
bad move.
A little beginning of a downfall. And then you got Emperor Xinglong, 1735 to 1796, a ruler who was more into the arts than conquering new territory. So now you got somebody that's come in after like a crazy tax cut for the rich, basically. And he's more focused on creating art and literature, which is all dope and all that good shit. But he didn't know tax reform. And under his rule, art and literature took off, but his stronghold over territory starts to decline, creating like a rebellious time and the beginning of the downfall of the Golden Age. And after this downfall of Golden Age, and after these power of three emperors, you get Emperor Zhang Xing, 1796 1820, and his power could tested continuously by rebellion, famine that killed millions, which brings us to the first Opium War, in which China got that L, and with that loss, China's trade power went to Great Britain, and being the sneaky bastards that fucking Great Britain is, were. Yeah,
I'd say. They're kind of just chilling now.
Yeah. They pushed opium super hard, like poppy seeds and stuff, from India into China, creating a epidemic similar to the opioid crisis. So it's basically crippling the lower class and the upper class with addiction, because obviously they're just smoking fucking opium and chilling with concubines, not even military minded anymore. They're just literally looking to trade for this fucking opium.
Just getting high.
So. And that pretty much ends the Great Golden Age of China, which is their last imperial golden age anyway. Then we get to Emperor Taiping, struggling to do much with his reign because of a rebellion that killed nearly 25 million people.
Jesus.
25 million.
Just take that off the top. Just boop. Yeah. And this rebellion was called the Boxer Rebellion, which was led by peasants that studied martial arts and boxing. Get the correlation there. Wow. And they were probably the only sober motherfuckers in the country. You know what I mean? They're studying how to fight, and they're like, okay, I think everybody's high, bro. You want to just take this shit over?
Just bust them upside the head and take the opium?
I seriously have an image of just a bunch of people in like really tattered clothing just busting into an opium den. Everybody's just like, huh, what?
Hey,
and they're
man.
like, cool,
what's up,
Pow,
bro?
bang.
Yeah. So the dope thing about the Boxer Rebellion is these people that obviously studied martial arts are more in tune with their body, more in tune with the arts themselves. They believe in banning slavery, arranged marriage, torture, and foot binding, which is classic China culture.
The foot binding is crazy.
Shit is wild.
Some of those women couldn't walk.
Yeah. Because they wanted to have pretty little tiny feet to fit in those little shoes. They succeeded until they got to Beijing, of course, where you just mentioned all those fucking warriors went to and took over. They actually got to actual military force, and it was like, oh yeah, we weren't ready for all that. We was just playing, we didn't want all the smoke. You know what I'm saying?
Our feet are tied up, bro.
So they got obliterated.
So they got to Beijing, the capital, and just fucking...
It's gone. It literally that rebellion just ended. It immediately just oh, y'all playing.
I was like,
Get the fuck on somewhere. But right after this rebellion, another one of those climate shifts happened, and there's another famine. Kills 10% of northern China's population from 1876 to 1879. And then, surprise, surprise, in 1907, another famine struck, killing 25 to 30 million more people.
Good God.
Yeah. So then we get all the way to Puyi, the last emperor. Did not accomplish much because after he was established emperor, there's a new government taking over under Sun Yat-sen, and he becomes the first president of China, causing the Qing dynasty to end in 1912, which brings us to modern-day China. And I believe we're going to cover that next week.
Yeah.
That's right. We're going to talk about modern-day China and then some of the more impressive feats that they pulled off, over the time. Obviously, the Great Wall is going to be something that's covered. Right. And then...
they're worldwide trade now, worldwide economics that they rule right now. I mean, Jesus Christ, you can look around right in front of you probably right now and see made in China on something.
Of course.
Straight up.
I mean, we all know that 80% of what we buy is made by them,
A little computer in your pocket probably came from there.
100%.
Most likely.
Yeah,
definitely did.
100%.
Without a doubt.
And we'll talk a little bit about ghost cities.
Oh, yeah.
It's the opposite of what Americans know as ghost cities.
Right? It's 100%. Yeah, I never even thought about that. That's true.
Yeah, if you think about an American ghost town, it's because we gave up and left.
Yeah.
They're planning something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild, bro. Our whole infrastructure built and just it's chilling. It's just chilling.
It's just for the future, guys.
Yeah. Anyway, there's also a lot of creepy stuff we can get into, but we'll figure that out in this next week. We got a little more research to do. But that was the like I said, tip of the iceberg. At the beginning of China. We try to condense it as much as possible and give you just the hot facts, the high point facts. Like I say, if you want to dig into it deeper, History 101 on YouTube and 24 Seasons of China on Prime. They dig in pretty deep on it.
There's a really cool podcast too. It's, I think it's simply called The History of China. Yeah. That's like the whole thing.
Is super thick.
Yeah,
it's super thick.
I mean, and it's only 24 to 28 minute around about, but it also gets a little bit longer and longer and longer. But it's a really great listen. You have to have your computer brain on.
Yeah, he talks pretty quick. And like we did Han Dynasty in one section. He does Han Dynasty in like 6 episodes.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's that thick. But yeah, man, thank y'all for tuning in. This is a, fun thing that we do. Hope y'all are doing well out there in this crazy ass time. And either congratulations or I'm sorry to you for the election. I'm on the congratulations side of that. But anyway, I'm Justin Hammonds, man, and I'm saying love, live life because it's worth living, y'all.
And I'm Drew Shelnut, and I'm saying stay informed and make a difference.
Bang, bang.
Grant Bramlett here. Never liked you. I always loved you.
Well, like I said, we love y'all, man. And you can support the podcast. Go to anchorfm.com/Friends, Facts, and Fiction. And if you want to throw us a little bone to keep us doing what we do and what we love to do for y'all, you can do that. Once again, this is Friends, Facts, and Fiction. We out.
Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for the next episode. Find us on Facebook and Instagram to stay up to date on everything Friends, Facts, and Fiction. Our Instagram handle is friends_facts_fiction. As always, please reach out to us. You can send any of your questions, praise, and fact-checking to friends.facts.fiction@gmail.com. It's important to us to only propagate the truth, and we will correct any errors we may have made. This has been a production of Friends, Facts, and Fiction.